again. I'm Marcia Howard, M-A-R-C-I-A-H-O-W-A-R-D. And
I'm Catina Taylor, C-A-T-I-N-A, last name Taylor, T-A-Y-L-O-R, and I am the president for the Educational Support Professionals chapter of the Minneapolis Federation of Educators, Local 59.
all right, I'm Marcia Howard, president of the teacher chapter of Minneapolis Federation of Educators, Local 59.
Yeah, I just said, man.
And I want to tell you, last night was a long, long night. We were here counting ballots with the Joint Executive Board for both the teacher chapter and the ESP chapter of MFE. If you know, there are two chapters in this union, and there are 3 contracts that we are all bargaining at the same time in an unprecedented move. But after we have counted up all the ballots and the votes, it was 92% turnout, and 92% voted yes to a strike.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that we will strike, because our joint executive board needs to approve that. I will say that our members showed up, they showed out, they voted, our community had our back, our parents, and they understand that we are fighting for smaller class sizes, safe staffing and for special education, pay parity for adult educators, because they are also licensed teachers. If St. Paul can do it, we can too. You know what I'm saying? Also, living wages for the educational support professionals. We want to be able to live in the city in which we work. You know what I mean? Again, pay parity.
All of that is a means to solve a problem in Minneapolis. And the problem has always been retaining teachers and, frankly, retaining families. When I started my tenure as president of the teacher chapter, I leaned a lot on the president of the ESP chapter, and I talked to her about what happened in Minneapolis. Why is it no longer a destination district as it was when we started 27 years ago?
Yeah.
How do we make Minneapolis a destination district? How do we get families back? We only serve half the families that are eligible to be in this district. And so we started asking families, what did they want? And we talked to teachers and other educators. Why don't they want to be here? Why do they start here and then leave and go to other districts? And those answers were about class sizes. And for the educators, pay. And so when we proffered those solutions in our bargaining demands, we were hoping that the district would actually meet us at the table and cooperate with us, because we have solutions embedded in those bargaining proposals. We're still hoping that they will meet us at the table with a solution. But our members are disappointed, would be putting it mildly, because they just keep delaying and disappointing us with the lack of preparedness. They don't have their math ready. It's a big building with a lot of people making a lot of money, and they're just not prepared for what's at stake. It's a lot of people depending on the folks at the Davis Center to be ready to meet us at that table.
I will add, there's hope. There's time and there's hope for us. I feel that once we get back and to the table, when we go to mediation again, I believe that there's a possible chance that our district will come back the right way, correctly, so that we can get this all settled and we won't have to take drastic actions.
I have faith in her, and I have faith in our families. As a matter of fact,
Let's call up a parent now.
Hi, my name is Becca Dryden, Beccadryden, and I'm here with Minneapolis Families for Public Schools. My name's Becca Dryden. I'm the parent of 2 elementary schoolers who attend our neighborhood schools, Hale and Field. I'm here today because I believe in the power of education to foster a child's love of learning and expand their sense of belonging and community. I want to see MPS live up to that expectation for all students across the district. My family fled our home in the South for a more inclusive and welcoming place for our kids to live and learn, and I have been beyond impressed with our neighborhood schools and the teachers and staff. I was, however, shocked to see my child go from a class of 21 kindergarteners in Tennessee, where public education is not prioritized, to a school that has multiple kindergarten classes of 28 students here in Minneapolis. Because of my commitment to public education in my new home city, I began organizing with Minneapolis Families for Public Schools. We are a group of over 400 families, north side to south Minneapolis, who believe MPS can be the best option for school in our city. We are standing with educators as they negotiate their next contract, from bargaining to the picket lines if necessary. As families, we're organizing alongside educators to win enforceable class size limits at every school, more resources for special education and English language learners, and fair pay for all educators. We have already mobilized nearly 1,000 parents and caregivers to call on district leadership to settle a strong contract that addresses these issues without MFE needing to go on strike. Families are ready to go hard to win on these issues, and so are educators. We're fed up that district leadership doesn't seem to be sharing that same sense of urgency, because these issues are urgent. When we surveyed 1,000 families this spring, the issue of class sizes rose to the top for families all across the district. We're hearing stories of classes with more than 40 students crammed into classrooms, students sitting 2 or 3 to a seat. That's not okay. District leadership committed to smaller class sizes in previous contract negotiations, but without meaningful enforcement. That means year after year, school by school, families are having to chase down district leadership to hold them accountable to that commitment. When I talked to my 5th grader about the class cap sizes proposed by educators, he strongly reacted to how much easier of an environment it would be to learn in. Less overstimulating, less noisy, less stressful. He's had incredible teachers whose classroom management has been really remarkable, but imagine how much more they could accomplish together if instead of 30 elementary-aged kids, there were 20 or even 25. Caseloads and resources for special education and English language learners also rose to the top of families' lists of concerns. Across the district, schools are experiencing special education caseloads well above cap without sufficient staffing. This isn't just a logistical issue, it's a safety issue and it's an equity issue. We are also clear that all educators are underpaid and we're ready to fight to change that. In our survey, 92% of families said that they support or strongly support competitive wages for our educators. We're talking about the people who are supporting our kids through the toughest parts of growing up. This work deserves our respect, and our educators deserve fair pay. We are calling on district leadership to settle a strong contract with enforceable class size limits at every school, more resources for special education and English language learners, and fair pay for educators, including ESPs, adult educators, and licensed educators. We're going to keep showing up with educators until we win. Thank you.
If there's any questions for anyone up there, go ahead.
Is there a timetable on setting a strike date?
The strike has to be approved by the Joint Executive Board, and last night was a late night, and the Joint Executive Board, the JEB, hasn't been convened yet. So you know that if and when it does get approved, there's a 10-day cooling period, and that is set by law.
How does Thursday's mediation schedule affect that? Are you gonna wait till after that, or are you gonna?
Where there's breath, there's hope.
How much sleep did y'all get last night?
Very little.
So just to understand clear, like, how likely is a strike at this point? I don't know if you can put a percent chance on it or something like that.
That's up to the district. Sometimes they can be our best organizers.
Could we have you step to the microphone, please?
I would say that's purely up to our district leaders with what they come back with. And sometimes the bosses can be the best organizers in this situation.
I know you guys said the board has to vote on a strike, but do you guys have a specific day when the board is going to meet yet?
We can call an emergency JEB meeting anytime,
But we meet Wednesday.
but we meet Wednesday, yes.
You'll meet tomorrow for the
Yes.
board? Okay, and then you have the mediation session Thursday? Okay.
Do you anticipate calling a strike before the mediation? Or you're going into that with this sort of in your pocket, but,
Yes.
That's what we'll do, keep it in our back pocket. We just gonna definitely give it a breather. Let's see what our district come back with. And again, I am the one that try to have a little bit of hope and faith in a never-ending story that we hear year after year, contract after contract. This time, I'm hoping that they would just do the right thing.
She has a lot of hope.
sounds like
I'm finding it. I'm finding it. I know that there are people in the data center who have spent the same amount of effort in the last year attempting to forge strong relationship with this union. And we said, new year, new era. We were going to build a destination district together, keeping the students and the families that we serve in mind. That it was imperative that we, in public education, become the bulwark against the assault on our democracy itself. That is what we are keeping in the forefront of our mind, that public education is a common good. That is what we're fighting for. That is what we breathe into life in every proposal that we made. We're keeping the budget in mind, and we will keep that in mind in every negotiation move that we make. We're not asking for,
The sun and the moon.
and it's a negotiation, you know what I mean? So whatever we start with and whatever we end with, it's going to be for the good of the entire district and the city of Minneapolis. So we will be open. Our phone line is open, our email is open, our hearts are open, and our hope is open that there are people that are willing to actually come to the table and negotiate.
What's the biggest hang up in the negotiations?
Have you ever heard the phrase opportunity gap? Sometimes I think there's a gap in imagination, in being able to figure out how you can imagine how we can take what little we got and fund all that we need in order to make this a destination district, especially when many of our proposals are no cost. So if we say, let's get a
Working group together, working around enrollment. That's one of our things, our common good proposals. everything that we are fighting for is student-centered. And so it's gonna help Minneapolis be a strong destination district, not just for staff, but for students as well.
What do you mean by destination district?
I moved to this state in the mid-90s after marrying a Minnesotan and doing my research. And I literally looked at a state that had some of the best outcomes for African Americans. And oddly enough, Minneapolis was a city that did. This was a destination district. And it was less than 10 years later that they started calling us the Mississippi of the North.
Can you be more specific about what you consider to be fair pay?
I can tell you this, if I were to cross the river and go to St. Paul, I'd make $8,000 more.
Yeah.
Competitive pay is pay that's commensurate with our peer districts. And Minneapolis Public Schools is probably about 5th on the list.
Are you losing educators to St. Paul?
Absolutely. We're losing educators to districts all around the Twin Cities. And what's really shameful is if you have taught in Minneapolis, you are considered non-pareil as an educator. So we are jump-starting people's careers to lose seasoned educators to other districts. We don't want to be the launching pad to great educators.
Yeah, and I will also add, look, we want to be able to live in the city in which we work, okay? With gas prices going up, food going up, we still have educational support professionals that are homeless in the city of Minneapolis. They working full-time jobs, okay? So when we say competitive and a living wage, that's what we mean. We want to be able to live in the city in which we work. Thank you.
I have a question. I know Minneapolis has had budget problems for a long time. When you talk about an imagination gap, are there proposals or ideas that the union wants to see the district take in terms of organizing its finances, whether that's making cuts in certain areas? I know they've been reviewing buildings for a long time. Are there things that you are proposing or that you want to see?
That 8%.
Before I even touch their fund balance, I really think when we look at the district's budget, them attacking their transportation costs and their purchase service agreements and all of that, that is something that they're going to have to do internally going forward. And not just Minneapolis Public Schools, but other districts are going to have to do sort of like a shift in the way in which they do things, especially going forward. We don't have to speak of what we need to speak of, right? With what's going on out east. That is putting constraints on everyone, which is something that we are all too aware of. We are aware of that. This union is aware of what our district and other districts are going through. And we kept that in mind with our costing. So when we go to the table, we have our budget and the district's budget in mind with our proposals. So after this contract cycle, how the district moves, how top-heavy they are in their staffing, and I don't mean with educators, because unlike other districts, they don't spend all their money on what's closest to the kids. Minneapolis spends a lot of money away from the students. Maybe they would do better to not do it that way.
What do you mean by that? Like, what are they spending on that's not directed for the students?
Bureaucracy. There are a lot of people that make a lot of money that has nothing to do with teaching children.
Do you have any concerns about the frequency of getting to this point where you either strike or are close to striking based on back in 2022 and now?
Now, it may seem frequent. Matter of fact, I heard someone go, it's deja vu all over again. And the reason why it seems so sudden and frequent is because we started bargaining so early. We had just settled a contract, and then, we said, let's start bargaining again so that we would get this contract settled by the time our contract ended.
But sadly, for the last 27 years that I've been in this district, I've worked on an expired contract. And again, we took the first step and came to the district and said, let's start this process early. You know what I mean? We started way back in April on an expired contract, which expired in June. And so,
And oddly enough, there are people who started bargaining after we did. Mind you, we started bargaining in April of 2025. St. Paul has already settled. Other districts have already settled. Minneapolis didn't come back with counter proposals until August of 2025. Some people tout that 15-hour marathon mediation without actually noting we spent about 40 minutes in each other's presence. That could have been an email.
Is this the third contract negotiation cycle where you've either taken a strike vote or called for a strike vote? Do I have that
This
count
is
right?
the third one.
It's not fourth, it's third.
It's the third.
Thanks.
It's the third one. And again, we didn't expect it to happen. We thought we'd be settled by summer,
before school even started.
before school started. But it's fall, and
We're here.
we're here.
You said earlier that 92% people turned out to vote and 92% voted to strike. Was that surprising to you that not one person didn't vote not to strike?
No, 92% of the 92%. Okay? So there were some no's. Some people voted no. But 92% of our members, her chapter, the ESP chapter, their votes were counted separately. My chapter was counted separately.
And then we tallied them up together. So 95% of educational support professionals
We had a bet.
showed
Oh
up.
my God.
Showed
Oh my
out.
Yes. The ESPs are even more eager to strike. So,
But again, we're hoping and praying that our district come back, with a really good deal to whereas we won't have to even take those type of actions. I have faith.
Since announcing the strike authorization vote, have you heard from the district at all?
I've reached out to a few leaders.
really. From
Well,
last-
actually, yeah, I reached out to a few and I actually invited them to come to our mediation session, including school board directors and our superintendent.
I was asleep. I have not reached out to anyone except the back of my eyelids. So last night was a late night. I literally woke up and I have come here. And I don't know if the district is learning about our strike authorization vote results. I don't know if that's going to move anyone to make any overtures whatsoever. Are they going to just wait for our mediation? A strike is leverage, but I also want to respect my members and not be so crass as to say, oh, we just took the strike. So I'm going to sit with what my members just authorized and leave it at that. Okay?
We're just gonna take one more question then.
Okay, thank you.
Do you all have the exact vote totals, or are you just giving us the 92%?
We're just giving you the 92%, but Our district knows because they can do the math.
We have thousands of members.
Yes.
Do you have time for one more?
You can take it.
Okay.
One more.
What is it like to have support from parents?
Oh, wow.
Oh, now you're back.
It means everything to us because without our community and without our parents, we're nothing. We do this for our students. We love and care for them, and our parents got our backs, and they love and care for us as well. So we really, really appreciate them. Let's show some love.
And I know Becca and Trista here are willing to do some
Further.
breakouts one-on-one.